Hey Periscope, I just wanted to check in with you guys. Hello Kiara, thanks so much for joining. I want to talk a little bit about, hello, welcome everybody, welcome. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Miss Jax, join me on Periscope. I can't talk now because I'm scoping. Hey, so good afternoon guys. I hope you are having a great day. Hope you've got good plans for the weekend. I'm going to catch up with some of my people, and I'm looking forward to spending some quality time. So I wanted to drop in and do a quick, hey, Sean, wanted to do a quick Periscope. Let's talk about when it's over. And it can be a relationship, it can be a job, it can be a friendship, it can be an excuse or an area that you're working on. But what do we do when it's over? I want to encourage you guys don't tear someone apart just because a relationship is over. Hey, Miss Jax, I'll call you back. When I got up this morning and I was really kind of thinking about some of the ways that we enter and exit relationships. And I thought of how we often leave a relationship or break up with someone, and all of a sudden they become the devil. When we liked them, when we were friends with them, when we were in love with them, they walked on water. They were awesome. They were incredible. They could do no wrong. But when the relationship shifts or changes, all of a sudden we begin to fault find and find everything that's wrong with that person, that organization, that group, that job, whatever it is. So when it's over, we tend to get amnesia and forget all the good. We forget the benefits. We forget the grace that we extended because it's over. I want to encourage you to exit relationships, to exit career paths. I want us to be mindful of the way that we leave. You don't have to kill something just because the season's over. It doesn't need to be killed. It doesn't need to be dead. We don't need to trash people's reputations. We don't have to dog a company out. We don't have to complain. We don't have to expose all of the weaknesses or frailties that we know. Just because it's over. The bottom line is this: you need not fall out with someone just because you're growing up in yourself. Sometimes it's not about a falling out. Relationships shift, and sometimes there's nothing wrong with the other person. They're not evil. They're not the devil incarnate. They're not awful. They're not a bad person. They're just over in that season, that space, that capacity, or that role in your life. So my encouragement is this: don't have a falling out with someone just because you're growing up in yourself. That's a good Nickism. I'm going to tweet it in a minute, but if you beat me to it, don't have a falling out just because you're growing up. If you're growing up and your needs have changed, your desires, your direction has changed, it's okay to say that. You should be in relationships where you are allowed and encouraged to grow. But just because you're growing up doesn't mean you need to dog other people out. If something's changed in a relationship, listen, be woman enough, be man enough to own your shift and just say, hey, I appreciate the time we had together, or I still want to connect with you on this level. We can still eat, we can still be cool, but this shift has changed. I'm working on this, I'm working on that. Or even just kind of bow out gracefully and quietly. But I want to encourage you not to break people as you're building yourself up. Don't destroy relationships that you've outgrown. It was good for a season. There was a point in time in life when peanut butter and marshmallows was a favorite snack of mine. I would live for a peanut butter and marshmallow sandwich. I cringe at the thought of it right now because I've outgrown that season. That's not my favorite meal. It's not a snack I'm going to race home to make or to have. There's nothing wrong with peanut butter or marshmallows. It's just that season is over. So if you find yourself in a place where you're looking at your relationships and you've outgrown some people, you've outgrown some roles, you've outgrown the time for some relationships, I want to encourage you, don't leave in an ugly way. Don't be immature trying to prove how mature you are. A lot of times people talk about how grown they are. I'm a grown woman. I'm a grown man. And we say and make those declarations amidst the most infantile behavior. You're stomping, you're flailing your arms, you're rolling your neck, you're pouting, you're sucking your teeth, you're cussing, you're acting like a child to prove how grown you are. And that's just silly, right? So this is about what to do when it's over. When it's over, it's over. It doesn't have to be evil just because it's over. It doesn't have to be horrible just because it's over. It's not evil. They're not wrong. You may not necessarily be wrong. You just may be over. Sometimes that same job that was wonderful and great in the beginning, you can just be over it. The job's not awful. It's not terrible. It's not abusive. You're just over that job. You can be in a relationship or a friendship and you may be cool with some people. You may have been very close to them. Your relationship may have been at a different place and a different point. And now it may be over in a different way. It doesn't have to be completely over. Maybe the familiarity or the amount of time that you spend in that relationship has shifted. It doesn't mean that you have to cut ties, burn people, and cut everything off. It just means the way it once was is over. And it's okay. It's okay to grow. It's okay to give other people permission and space to grow. Sometimes people have to figure things out in relationship. And sometimes people don't figure things out as quickly as we do or as we would like them to. Have you ever been in a relationship where you kind of figured out the other person's problem and you got frustrated waiting for them to come to that conclusion? They said, I don't know what to do about this. And you say, all you need to do is this, and this. And they say, well, I'm going to think about it. I just need some space to figure it out. And you're kind of sitting there like, this is not complicated. This is easy. We have to give people grace. And part of extending grace means giving them the time that they need to figure it out, to work it out, to think it through, and to come to the conclusion that's best for them. Meanwhile, we can come to the conclusion that's best for us. And if the way that we are relating to people has changed, then we have to be mature enough to own it. We've got to say, listen, this has shifted for me. There's nothing wrong with you. I am just in a different place, or I'm working on some different goals. I'm really focused on A, B, C, or D. And, this is how I can commit to our relationship. So number one, if it's over, acknowledge that it's over. Don't keep trying to stay in a relationship where you've shifted or the other person has shifted. Number two, don't kill people. Don't kill an exit, right? I love songs. I love music. And my aunt growing up would say, you're going to kill that record. You've played it so much. You're going to kill it. Don't kill people. Don't make a dramatic exit, trying to shame people or trying to prove yourself better than the other person. They're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just over. Stop villainizing people just because a relationship is over. It's horrible to do. And if the season ever changes again and you want to reconnect or recommit to that relationship, you're going to have to start with a new foundation that's built over all the hurt, all the drama, all the chaos and the craziness that you created when you just simply could have said, listen, I'm in a different place now. This is what I need, or this is what I would like, or this is what I desire. This is where I want to go. Relationships can be over for a number of different reasons. If you want to live in an igloo in Alaska, our dating life is over. I don't like the cold. You may be great, but I'm not doing igloo. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with an igloo. It just doesn't work for me. So that means that the way we're going to relate now is different. It's over. It's not wrong. It's not right. It's over. Be mature enough to draw a line in the sand and to live in the present. When it's over, it's over. I can't encourage you enough not to hang out in relationships hoping that people will go back to what it once was. Was is past tense. If you're trying to get back to what it was, you can't live in the past. You have to deal with people as they are right now. You have to deal with the decisions that they make right now. And you have to deal with the consequences that will be the result of those decisions in the future. So that's it. I just kind of had that on my mind when thinking about it all day, why we make dramatic exits and why we make messy exits and why we leave relationships so messy when we enter them so carefully. We enter a relationship on our best behavior, on our P's and Q's. We enter guarding that person. We won't let anyone talk badly about them. We won't expose their faults. And then when we leave or we decide to exit, or if that person exits the relationship before us, everything goes out the window. All of a sudden, it's Game of Thrones, it's Hunger Games, and we are out for blood. We're going to tell everything that we once held sacred. We're going to expose them. We're going to embarrass them. We're going to forget the good contributions that they've made in our lives. And all that does is prove how immature we are. The nature of life and the growth of relationships is that everything has a time, everything has a season. The Bible says there's a time to love and a time to hate, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. So it can be difficult to say to someone, listen, this is over. Setting a boundary can be different. Maybe the way that people have manipulated you in the past is over. Maybe you being subject to emotional blackmail is over. Whatever it is, you could be setting different boundaries. You could just be growing up in yourself. Maybe you realize what you need. You've been cultivating your own vision and you realize that some of the ways that you've been acting and reacting and adapting in relationships no longer serve on your best level. And so that you is over. And a new you is in a relationship. So give yourself permission to declare what's over. I want us to kind of do an emotional, relational audit of our closest relationships and think about if the people whom you talk to the most on a consistent basis, are they good for you? Are these relationships good for you? And when I say good, I don't mean do they feel good? Do you enjoy them? Do you have a history in these relationships? All of those things are well and good, but do these relationships serve a godly purpose in your life? And if they don't, you may need to reevaluate. You may need to look again at whether it's time for these relationships to be over or not. Relationships have no neutral. They're either pushing you towards your destiny or they're pulling you away from it. And again, it doesn't mean the relationship is bad. It may just be time for it to be over. So if it's over, let it go, but let it go in a way that it can grow, you can grow, and the other person can grow as well. That's it. That's my spiel. You guys have any questions, any comments? Thanks for tuning in. Retweet, repost, reshare. If you get any nuggets, post them. Holler at me on Twitter or Periscope or Facebook at Nicole Azaán. I just really want to encourage us to be mindful about the way that we exit things. The way that we leave says a lot more about you than the way that you enter, the way you come into an organization, the way you come into a job, the way you show up in life. A first impression is memorable, but a last impression is unforgettable. So sometimes we don't make a first impression. There's sometimes people who come into our lives and we don't pay much attention. But we remember the people that leave and the people who leave messy and the people who leave and leave a whole lot of drama and chaos and confusion once they've exited. So don't make a Tasmanian devil exit. Don't leave and leave a trail of broken hearts and wounded souls in the process. That's not necessary. Give people permission to leave you with dignity. Everybody's not going to stay with you. Everybody didn't stay with Jesus. And what we don't see is Jesus chasing after people. We don't see him fussing at people when they left. You know, the Bible says he gave some hard truths at some point and he said, listen, this is what it is. And the word says that many people walked away. And Jesus didn't say, hold up, where are you going? I fed you. I performed miracles. I healed you. And you're just going to walk away from me. You owe me. He didn't do an exorcist exit. He just turned to the people who still remain with him and said, if you want to go, that's fine too. So be secure enough, be mature enough to give yourself permission to enter and exit with dignity, and to give other people permission to enter and exit as well. Know that sometimes when people are leaving, they're not leaving you. Sometimes people are leaving what you represent. Sometimes people can't be friends. They can't be in relationship. They can't date. They can't marry you. Not because you're wrong, but because you may have a standard that's different. You may represent a challenge or a level that they don't want to grow to. So, don't dog people out. Don't dog your exes. Don't dog ex-friends, ex-pastors, ex-churches, ex-lovers. Listen, stop all of that. There was a reason why you got in the relationship in the first place. And there's good in everyone. So be really, really mindful of how you exit. Why? Because an exit is a seed that you sow for an entrance in the next relationship. A lot of times, especially when it comes to social relationships, we want to date and people talk about starting over and starting fresh. But the reality is you're going to bring into a new relationship all of the patterns that you've learned, established, and reinforced from your old relationships. So it's hard to start right with Mr. Right if you have a habit of exiting wrong all of the time. You're going to get in that new relationship and it may be a blessing. It may be the purposed relationship. It may be the one, quote unquote, but you can wreck it with a bad exit. You can wreck it because you haven't learned how to leave well, or you haven't learned when to leave well enough alone. But that's a totally different periscope. Maybe we'll get into that later. If I start talking about relationships, we'll be here all day. So thank you guys for tuning in. We got any comments, any questions, any feedback? Hit me with some topics that you guys want to kind of talk over or discuss. We're always working on, thanks for the hearts, appreciate it. We are always working on videos that are going to be relevant to you and things that are going to coaching strategies, thoughts, nickisms, food for thought that's going to help you live on your best level. So you may not want to do it in a public forum, but private message me, inbox me, send me an email. info@NicoleAzaán.com. Let me know what you took away from the videos. Check out the other videos. All of the replays are on catch.me. So it's KATCH.me/Nicole Azaán. Leave me comments there. I realize I get a lot of not anonymous, but private messages. Sometimes people want to comment and they don't want to do so on a public forum. So trust your confidentiality and identity is protected. I respect your privacy, but I do thank you for responding and helping me to be better and give you guys great materials and keep you going to live on your best level. Thank you, Miss Jax. I believe if we exit relationships well, we can enter the next level and we can enter new relationships even better. We don't want to create a habit of leaving badly, or we don't want to create a habit of leaving impulsively. I believe sometimes we can walk away from our blessing prematurely because we don't want to do the work of staying. We don't want to do the work of risking being vulnerable in love. So again, those are all different Periscope topics, but for this time and our time together, remember, if it's over, it's not evil. It's not wrong. It's just over. And that's okay. I'm Nicole Azaán, your VIP coach, always encouraging you to cultivate vision, clarify your intention, and understand purpose so that we can live on our best level. Bye.